Hey guys, it's Spaces Sins, and we are back with more Virche Evermore. I was like, oh my god, my brain went through just a cycle of everything in the world. Holy hell. Anyway, it's not like it's been a long time since I played the last part, Jesus. Anyway, we are continuing Eve's route, and we get to be Capucine now, so this is intriguing. He's just dotting, okay. Alright. Capucine's voice is Capucine and Jean kind of have the same voice at this point, but anyway. In cells extracted from the blood, one could look deeper to discover chromosomes filled with genes that compose the human body. Oh my god, that's true. He took our blood. Oh dear god, I forgot for a hot second. Oh no. Yes. Those genes determine the composition of the human body. Ah! Ah! Was so overjoyed that I destroyed pieces of the collection around me. Oh, that was joy. Okay, sorry, it didn't seem like that, but okay. Oh, there's that face. There's the creepy face, the one that he made when he made Nadia into a freak of nature. Okay, sure. Fantastic. I never expected to find someone with such beautiful genes apart from Nadia's. Strength of the double helix forming the beauty of the chromosomes, and look at the numbers. It's as though they're the very same flowers out in the fields. Interesting. I was ripped out of my mother in the middle of the field, so okay. Alright, weirdness, sci-fi, whatever. Okay, sure. But how? How can someone be born with such genes without any modifications? Or is she truly death as everyone professes her to be? No, that didn't matter. Her genes are more than worthy of joining my collection. I must obtain her body at once. Oh, joy! Good times! Listen, when Capucine's in this pose, he is beautiful. But he is a psychopath. And, like, listen, there is trash. There are, like, literal dumpster fires that you were like, and when I say dumpster fires, and I mean you are hot. Like, yes, sir. Like, you know, sexy hot dumpster fires, and then there's Capucine, where you are beautiful. They drew you well, but you are a dumpster fire that I don't actually want to jump into. You know what I mean? My music keeps skyrocketing too. The game is like, listen! No. Like, oh my god. But I do love him. And I don't mean like, God, I love him, like I love Cyan or anything, right? But I love him as a character because, like, good God, he's fucked up. It's brilliant. You're like, you are just, what the fuck? Look, we've had some fucked up villains where you're like, I hate them. No, if you lit them on fire, I'd be okay. They suck. Like, great villains, but I want to literally light them on fire. You know? But, like, Capucine's such a good villain, you're like, God, you are awful! Don't light him on fire, though. I kind of want to keep him around, because he's crazy. Like, I think it's just this game in general. If it was like a happy, fluffy game where it wasn't just tragic and everybody wasn't a little bit of a dumpster fire, then, like, maybe I'd be like, yeah, no! Light him on fire! No, he's a great villain, but I hate him. But, like, I want him to stick around, because, God, I love to just see his insanity. I don't know. Like, there is nothing that can redeem this man, but, like, fuck if he isn't entertaining. Jesus. This game does shit to you. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be a little unhinged to get through this and be like, oh, great times! You know? I'm thinking of other, like, villains like Conan and frickin' Olympia Soiree where you were like, no, literally light him on fire. What a goddamn piece of trash. I hate him at the Passion of a Thousand Fiery Suns. He was garbage. Okay, I don't hate him like I hate, like, Finn or fucking Toma, right? Like, those were love interests, though, but Conan was like, no, fuck you, bro. And, like, Capucine's up there with the... No, dude, what the fuck? But I enjoy Capucine more. Don't know what it is. Maybe because they made him pretty. I gotta be honest. It's probably because, like, look at him, he's pretty. You're like, you're insane, but you're pretty, so. I mean, I don't think that really says a lot about me that's favorable. Whatever. Listen, nobody else can fucking point the look. What, you want to be the pot or the kettle? Because you know goddamn well you climbed in that motherfucking cage willingly when Lucas it showed up at his house. You were like, yeah, he's pretty. So yeah, okay. So yeah. Don't be throwing stones in this paper mache house we got going on. It ain't even glass. We can't afford it. Okay. Anyway, this is so. Oh dear God. But the genes are moving erratically. Some of the chromosomes are warped too. Looking closer, I saw some odd cells that were different from her other cells. Oh, interesting. As if they were somehow suppressing her cells and rewriting the information etched into her genes. Anko, I know you said you were giving us power, but, like, I didn't know we were mixing genes like that. Like, sir! Excuse me? Can't get all up in my jeans without I mean, I guess technically we were okay with it, but did you ask first? This is like all right. This part has started off real fucking interesting. Jesus. How despicable. Who would dare do this to my precious jeans? This also meant that someone was aware of her unique physical state aside from me. Anko. Oh, he's mad. He's so pretty when he's mad. Look what I'm talking about. Like, why is he beautiful if psycho? If psycho, why pretty? You know, like, this certain someone injected these cells in an effort to prevent others from knowing about them. Like he said he did with me. How did he inject cells? Was it like when we were going to stab ourselves and then he cut himself and then we absorbed some of his blood? Like, is that what we're gonna? Because, like, otherwise, how the hell did you do this? Magic, I guess, is the only other answer, but, like, I don't know if it's this world is, like, weird science that's supposed to be science-y and make sense, but really doesn't in reality science, but this is, like, sci-fi science, or, like, also magic. You know? I don't know why you can't have both, but for some reason my brain is like, there is either, like, sci-fi science or magic. Like, you don't... Both is weird, you know? But, like, why not cross the streams? Just saying. Anyway. Absolutely despicable. I won't let anyone take her. I've been prioritizing Nadia all this time, but I'll tend to her later. First, I need to get rid of these intrusive cells and restore the beauty of her genes to what they should actually be. That could be detrimental to you, so actually probably, yeah, sure, do that. I will come to get you soon. Do wait for me. My sweet, adorable Lycoris princess. There's a part of me that is like, I don't know if I actually don't hate this. I would not be a good heroine in an Otome game because I'd be in this and he would come prancing around like, oh, I want to distort your genes. And you're like, you are crazy. They're kind of into it though. You're kind of pretty. So, like, I mean, okay. And he'd be like, that's not fun. And I don't think he'd have as much fun. You'd have those love interests that are like, I'm going to put you in a cage and torture you. And you're like, all right, sounds like a great time. And they're like, I wanted you to protest more because I get off on that. And you're like, yeah, sorry, it's not going to happen. What if I told you we're siblings? Ah, I'm more into that. Yeah. No, don't take off your glasses. What are you doing? That's about the only thing that I would protest about. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm far too easy. I am an Otome whore. Fun. Good job. We should get that on a shirt. Let's not. Couldn't wear it in public. Oh, dear God. Seemed I was out cold for a while. Ugh. That's probably not the first time that's going to happen in this route. Where am I? Was this Eve's room? Why am I here? I'm starting to be concerned that Capucine is going to be the ending, because, like, oh, I mean, he wasn't the ending, to be fair. Well, was that one of the bad... When did that happen in Lucas's route? Was that in the main route, and then, like... Well, yes. That was in the main, and then didn't Capucine, like, take over, like, brainwash him more, like, inject him with whatever, and then he went and killed everyone, and then was like, let me take you away after he killed me. Yeah, okay, sure. Man, Capucine couldn't be happy in one fucking route. He's got to be, like, an antagonist in another one. Ew. His grubby little mitts and everything. My memories slowly returned. I remembered being in Coen when we came upon the site of the massacre. I was in complete shock. Eve came to help me, then we all escaped to the Institute. I vaguely remember Eve and Cyan exchanging words in a serious conversation, but also who changed me into my pajamas? Like, I can't get myself to remember exactly what they were talking about. I did remember one thing vividly. That Eve kept protecting me and that he held me by his side the whole time. You goddamn goody two-shoes! For a hot second, I forgot we were saying that, and I was like, right, okay, and then I saw Hugo. Have you forgotten how much effort you put into everything just to earn the trust of everyone in this godforsaken country? And you might lose everything you've done just because of that manifestation of death. I could hear yelling from behind the door, and this is where our heart gets broken. Because we realize Hugo doesn't like us. It hurts my feelings again. Is that Hugo? There was only one person who called Eve a goody two-shoes. But I thought he liked me. But he hates me. Oh, I know that happened in, like, not the last part, the one before, but I'm still sad. Sorry. I know it wasn't right for me to make that call without discussing it with you first. I'm sorry, honey, I just couldn't leave the kitten abandoned in the street like that. I swear to God, it's like he's apologizing to his wife. Well, I made a decision to keep Spacey by my side so that I can protect her. I'm not helping her being nice in the way I am with everyone else. Shh! I don't understand why you're like this when it comes to her. Hugo, some people... Okay, Hugo, sweetie, let's sit down, okay. Sometimes boys actually like girls and not other boys. I know it's hard for you to understand, but you know how much you love Eve? Yeah. Eve doesn't feel the same way about you, but he loves Spacey. So, like, do you see what's happening here? Like, which is why I really love this place in the Lycurgus Noirs. Oh, wait, that was me saying that. Whoops. I don't know what I just saw because we switched over to Eve's perspective. Anyway, that was supposed to be me. I really like this place and the death flowers. Anyway, they grow without fear and bloom despite the hatred of others. I've always seen them as family to me. So, thank you for protecting them so diligently, Eve. She said she loves them. Huh? Well, I've told you and Adolphe before about my mission as guardian of the Lycurgus Noirs. I told her about it too, but she didn't say it was pointless. She doesn't hate the flowers, even though everyone else does. His little pissy face right now is adorable. She loves them. She thanked me for protecting the place. She said it with a smile. I mean, to be fair, you gotta flop over to Hugo's side right now and be like, that is like the dumbest fucking reason. She likes my flowers. She said they were pretty. Sir, yeah, I'm gonna need something better than that. But it's adorable because, you know, it's Eve and he's a little unhinged and it makes perfect logical sense to him. And for him. She might not have said those words with any real intention, but to me, that made me really happy. And this is where Hugo realizes his boyfriend is in love with a girl. Which is why I decided that, no matter what happens, I'm gonna make that place her home in return for the love she showed this endless, hollow mission. Shh! Can't believe you came to that decision over pretty words for some flowers. Anyone can sweet talk like her. People can say things like that with a straight face. When she sees your scar, she's gonna treat you like a monster and turn her back. I have a love-hate relationship with this. We know this. This is not the first time this has come up. But, like, I love that Hugo is so overprotective that he's like, yeah, she's just going to abandon you like everyone else. I'm trying to protect you. But I also hate that, like, I don't know if it's out of, like, romance or romance. Like, sir, I'm going to need you to calm down a little. But to be fair to him, everybody else has abused Eve and, like, walked all over him, and he's just doing his best trying to protect his friend or, lover. I don't know. Like, okay, one-sided, but you know what I mean. Like, I don't really know. Hugo, you're gonna get to the end of this, and they're never gonna confirm either way, but you cannot convince me that this is only a bromance on Hugo's part. Like, he is like, yes, but like, bros kiss and make love, right? Like, that's because I think we should. Like, I just, you can't convince me that Hugo's not a little gay for Eve. He could be, like, just the only man he wants to, but I'm just saying, something is here. This is just this. I actually do, though, love the fact that we don't have an overprotective friend who's like a little bit of a psycho. That's Eve. Eve's got Hugo. And it's like, that's actually nice for once. It's not somebody being obnoxiously overprotective where you kind of want to slap him in the face. To us, Hugo is that character, but he's doing it to Eve. And it's like, it's so nice for once that we don't have to deal with it. We just have to stand on the sidelines and watch. And we're the person now. Oh my God, that's amazing. Because, like, normally we're Eve and we have a Hugo who's like, no, well, I mean, these guys aren't good enough for you. And then our love interest is like, dude, what the fuck? What the fuck is with this guy? Like, and they have to deal with our bestie who's over obsessed with us and overprotective being a psycho to them. And now we're the ones that have to deal. Oh my God, we're seeing it from the love interest perspective. That's so crazy. This is a first. I love this. But Hugo, it hurts me that you don't love me, but it's okay. Hugo. Sorry, I wasn't trying to imply that you're... That's fine. All what you said is true. I also think my relationship with her will end the moment she sees my hideous scars. Just like how everyone else, even my parents, screamed and ran away from me. Oh. I hate that you don't have faith in me, but I understand why you don't, so I can't be mad about it. It just hurts. Not me. It hurts me for you. I hurt for you. Oh. Our poor little labradoodle. You realize you're crazy protecting someone you know will betray you one day, right? Damn it. Whatever already. This is your place, but it's your damn choice who you want to invite. Hugo. You told me before that I'm free to do what I want. So I'm gonna bail from Karun for a while. Oh, no, that's Hugo. Sorry. Whoops, Hugo said that. You told me before I'm free to do what I want, so I'm gonna bail from Karun for a while. Till I cool off and come back, you better not die from your usual nonsense. Got that, you damn idiot? Thanks, Hugo. She may be precious to me, but you're my only partner. I'll be waiting for you to return. And you should yell at me or try to stop me, idiot! Hugo's such a drama queen. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna go stay with my mother. That's fine. I understand, sweetie. You go do it. You could just try to stop me. We are just watching our parents get divorced. Like, what the shit? Are you gonna kiss now? That would be weird, but also, I'd be okay with it. It would be hard for me to romance Eve after that, but... Hugo's like, stop me! Kiss me and tell me you don't want me to leave! I'm not gonna say it out loud, though. I love their lover quarrels. I feel like there is more romantic tension between them than there is between me and Eve right now. Like, we got the little goofy, like, adorable, like, oh, blush. Oh, you like my flowers. Oh my God, like, whatever. But, like, there is just some, like, passionate fire between these two, and I'm here for that romance. It's weird. It's weird. Not that I'm here for that romance. It's weird that the game put that in there to, like, make you be like, you do realize that nothing's gonna compare. Me and Eve, sure, will probably be fine, but, like, those two, that love story, it would have such a better ending, and if you wrote in that the good ending is those two ending up together, I don't think any of us would be disappointed. You'd be like, yeah, no, fair. I'm just the flower girl, the death flower girl at their wedding. I'm okay with that. Like, what? It's fucking game. Were you? Who? I don't even know anymore. I could hear Hugo slam open the door and storm out. The person who was always by Eve's side was now gone from Karoon. I know, we just broke them up. As though he had simply vanished. Is it because of me? Were you listening? Because, duh. I needed to leave. Hurry, hurry, hurry! Couldn't keep causing him misfortune and grief any longer. I tried to get out of bed and tumbled down. I couldn't stand properly as my shaking legs were still tangled in the sheets. I needed to climb out of the window and... Sorry, you heard, didn't you? A gentle voice came from behind. Before I knew it, my body rose from the ground. Oh, I was like, are we going to get a CG? Yes, we are. Stop it! What is that face? He's always looked adorable and everything, but this is beautiful and, like, borderline sexy. Like, you cannot give me those eyes, sir. What the fuck? Like, you can't give me that face and not make love to me right now. What the shit? You come here for this fucking unhinged bullshit, right? Jesus Christ. But seriously, look at this. Like, he's always adorable and sweet, and then this is not. This is, like, pretty sexy face. Like, you know what I mean? He's got, like, pretty adorable. Like, you know, you're adorable and pretty. It's beautiful, but it's in the adorable side. You know, and this is like, oh, hi, wait, what? Where the fuck have you been hiding this? I mean, I love him, don't get me wrong. I think he's pretty. But, like, this is sexy. Like, you don't get to go from, like, our adorable labradoodle to, like, sex panther over here. What the fuck, sir? Holy shit. I love it. It's like the whole other, like, oh, you've been hiding this under there. Okay. I was gently set down on the bed again, and then you had to start a line like promises game, and you're just gonna whip it away. You're not even gonna give it to me. Where are you planning to run off to? The voice wasn't reprimanding me. I mean, why would we ever leave when he's looking at us like this? I can't even read right now. I could never read, to be fair. He was calm and gentle as he tucked me into bed. Somewhere other than here. Where, exactly? Not sure. He smiled as if he knew I would say that. I need to leave before I take away anything else that's precious to you. I need to leave Karoon. That's why I need to leave. I don't recall any instance where you took something away from me. But Hugo will be back eventually. I mean, he loves this place and the work we do. But my being here made him act like the others. I can't risk you and Hugo. I can't let you die because I'm deaf. You're wrong. You don't have that kind of power. Don't be fooled by those kinds of rumors. Actually, I kind of do, according to Campesine and his, like, gene research over here. So, like, I don't know. I feel like he's just proven that the rumors are true. But he'll fix me. Maybe. He's gonna make me an abomination, isn't he? Well. Eve patted me gently as though he was trying to console me. No matter how scared you are of the world outside, you have the courage to take that first step for the sake of others. You're a cute girl who's kind enough to even give a name to the fish I was planning on eating. You're a kind-hearted girl who knows how to cook and make the most heartwarming stew in the world. You're a dreamer who says that the flowers are like family to you. See, you got more qualities that make you cute instead of fearsome. Well, I think you should have more confidence in them than some baseless rumor. I believe from the bottom of my heart, you're not the type to wish death upon anyone. Even if everyone in the country accuses you of being deaf, I'll always love. Love. Eve? I'm terrible. I've used the word love so often that he's like, I'll always love, and it's like, you're like, I was waiting for him to say it, but at the same time, it was this. Use the word, you're like, I'll always love you, and you're like, I don't know if that really means what I think I want it to mean, though, with you and what a love whore you are. He caught himself. When it matters most, I'm not able to think of a better word to lift your spirits. Never felt so frustrated before. I resent myself for being so cold-hearted. I shook my head in response. See, here's the thing. This is where you kiss me, goddammit. And then I'll understand that when you say love, it's a little different, because you don't just go around kissing everybody. You're wrong. Your sincerity is what made you hold back just now, knowing the gravity of what love means. Thank you, Eve. Everything you said just made me really happy. I don't want to give up yet. I know I might be asking for a lot, but can I be a normal girl in front of you? I was hoping you were going to say forever. I knew I couldn't say that. Each time he touched me and whispered, a powerful urge within me was telling me that I wanted to be someone special to him. That was something I could never wish for. Dear God. Whether I was human or actually death. Please, watch over this dear person. See, this is where communication... I mean, we have to, be... he's like, I wanted you to stay with me forever. And you're like, yeah. You're like, I can't say that. That wouldn't be fair to you. We both want the same things, but, where communication would be a nice thing. I get why they need some tension before we confess. We can't confess this early. But, it's one of those things where you're like, I would love that, but I can't say that because of this, that, and the other thing. And then, you know what I mean? Instead, you're just like, I'm just going to hold it in instead of being like, I wish I could be with you forever, but I will cause you misfortune, so I can't. I do, but I can't. I want to, but I won't. You know what I mean? It could cause other kind of drama. Because, on the same side, he's doing the same thing in his head where he's like, I kind of want you to say you love me and you want to stay with me forever. And you're like, I want to, but I can't. And he's like, but also, then I would have to show you my face and then you'd run away and leave. So even though I want that, then, I know that that's going to lead to bad things. So, we're both in this weird, we really want this, but it's going to just turn bad. But, we can't, nobody's saying it, Well, he kind of sort of said it, but, there would be enough drama even if we admitted it to each other, is all I'm saying. Please protect him so that he never sees misfortune ever again. That was my wish. My one and only wish. Yeah! Got an answer in that one, because we know this game, and tragic end, so. No, don't leave! Ugh. Ooh, chapter 3! My emotions when I first saw him. Oh. I don't know who this is, but... Because you'd think these used to be I swear they were... Well, okay, one time it was Ongo, and when I looked in the flowchart or whatever. But anyway, so I'm not sure who's saying it, because I don't think it's us, but anyway. Still remained vivid in my heart. They were so bright and blinding. I wanted to see his smile from as close as possible. To me, I'm reading that and I'm like, is this Hugo talking about how much, Or is it Onko, because Onko is someone else, and, I don't know. I read that though as like it's Hugo and he's just talking about how much he loves Eve because that ship sailed off into the ocean and we're never getting off it. It's going to be gone forever. I.e., we can't rein that ship in and pretend it never happened. It's there. It's in my heart. Discovering the bodies, whose hearts were gouged out, contradicted the idea that Boro was dead. The corpses being found near both the orphanage and Karun didn't bode well. It didn't take long for the people to gossip about the Maiden of Death in Coen as the prime suspect. The people gathered around the orphanage to discuss what to do about her. It was wrong in the first place for her to keep Death at the orphanage. She should have tossed her out into the street and let her die.
Hey, it isn't Sister Salome's fault. What? She's responsible for shielding that damn Death this whole time.
Oh. I love it when she looks pissed, though. She's beautiful, and then she's like, I'll kill them all. I trust that she would stab them. She stabbed me, so I'm just saying. Salome let out a sigh as she watched the Cohen residence from the window. Children were frightened by the relentless stares and locked themselves in their rooms. Mother, what now? Are you gonna kick Spacey out like that messenger guy said? As long as the residents are this frustrated, and they have been for some time now, I have no choice but to protect you children. What about you, Milo? Are you scared of death again after hearing about the incident? Well, yeah, I'm scared. I can't call it just a coincidence with the place and time. But I'm more scared of the people who can badmouth her so easily when she's not around. Some of them actually had Spacey help them out when she was working at Karun, right? How can you change your attitude so easily when you have no evidence? Do they feel any gratitude at all? You know, Milo, in the very beginning I was like, fuck this kid, but you know what, you're growing on me. So like, you know, I don't hate you, kid. Listen, I don't love you as much as Girl B, or was it Girl A? I don't remember her name. Who died brutally in Cyan's route when they went and murdered all the children. And it was like, I mean, they murdered Milo, but I didn't feel as bad about you dying in that route, Milo. I'm sorry, but like, you've got some points back, kid. So like, now if something happens to you, I might be a little mad about it. I'd be like, hey, Milo was coming around. I mean, I even said in the beginning that I'm like, look, I understand that he's a scared kid, but still doesn't make him any less of a dick about it. But, you know, now he's starting to wise up a little. He's starting to use his little brain. He's 13, okay? It's not like he's 8. Kid's smart enough to not be a dumbass. Alright, well, sorry. 13-year-olds are kind of dumbasses. Listen, I was a dumbass too. It happens. And then you get to be like in your 20s, and then you're like, I fucking know everything. And then when you hit your 30s, you realize in your 20s you were a dumbass. Like, you just, every decade you're going to realize what a dumbass you used to be. Like, you know, until you're on your deathbed and you're like, nope, always been a dumbass. Because that's human nature. We're all just fucking idiots. So, way to pep talk everybody, Spacey. It's okay. What I'm just saying is, like, we're all kind of stupid. Humanity is stupid in general, so, you know, can't win everything. But Milo is smart enough not to be this much of a dumbass. He's using his brain cells now, so I'm proud of him, is all I'm saying, okay? Still got my eye on you, kid, but anyway. Once people become relivers, such things as gratitude are lost and simply become a part of their record. Which is why they're able to distance themselves from acquaintances once things turn inconvenient. I suppose it's just a normal way of thinking for the people in this country, myself included. Wait a minute. So they turn their backs on Karun after they helped so many of them? I'd love to believe that the people still have a sense of good in them, but I suppose it depends on the situation. Milo clenched his jaw with frustration, and Salome couldn't help but feel the same way. Spacey had encountered many deaths just like the recent incident. It was true that Salome protected Spacey, thinking that there may have been something behind her curse's death. I had to turn my... it's fucking weird. I had to turn my AC on. It was like almost fucking 90 degrees out today. What the goddamn shit. By the way, it's April when I'm recording this. Okay. I realize that this is probably into like May or June. Might be May. But no, it feels like it's goddamn the middle of June. But I didn't want to turn my AC on, even though it was hot yesterday. Yesterday was only in the 70s, but it was like humid, so it was disgusting. But like you're like, it's okay inside, even though it got to be like 75. It was almost fucking 80 degrees in my house, and I'm like, God no, I'm turning my AC on. Because tomorrow is going to be kind of hot, but it's going to be rainy. And then after that, it's back in the 50s. And I'm like, I don't want to turn my AC on for 3 days, but I was to the point where I had to change into a t-shirt and shorts. I don't wear shorts, not even around my house. I had to put shorts on. I'm like, I'm dripping sweat. I feel disgusting. Like, holy fucking shit. But like, because you turned it on after a year of not using it, it smells funky. It's not like burning or weird. It just smells weird. You're like, oh. You're like, it's just got, you're like, like, it's kind of like when you first turn your heat on for the first time in a year, you're like, it smells burning. And not like, bad, but you're like, oh yeah, no, it's okay. Like, because like everything's kicking off for the first time. So it's like, it's just, I mean, I guess it's okay. It's not like bad. It doesn't smell like a chemical or anything like, oh my God, to be concerned about. It's just, oh, funky, like a little musty or whatever. You're like, ugh. Like, the vents have been blowing out heat, so I don't know, like, could just be whatever, because it's like, I haven't had the AC on for months anyway, So, anyway. It's just a little weird, because you're like, huh, But, I never thought I'd be this frustrated, being unable to do much for her. She was the same as Adolphe now. The girl had long since ceased to be a means to an end. It's funny, because, I mean, there's no way you could do Eve's before Cyan, but, like, Eve's route before Cyan, you know what I mean? That sentence didn't come out fully. Like, if you couldn't do Eve's before Cyan, and it's like, I wasn't saying Eve with an S, I was saying Eve's route, but I left out the route. Anyway, you couldn't do this route before Cyan's route, so, but, like, out of context, that's like, huh. But obviously, this was locked until you did them, so. A few nights had passed. The recent peace we enjoyed had vanished. Deaths continued every night without fail. It's weird that it was at bay for a while and now it's back, but they spread to Cernaval and Cheetahs. The smell of blood began to fill the air. The Corps and the Royal Guard were busy gathering the bodies before they rotted. It's kind of interesting because you wonder, like, it doesn't seem like it's Bordeaux, because they would have made a point to bring that up. But why were they... Well, I mean, again, they're relivers that are with the lung issue, and you don't know who was making them because they're not coming out of the Institute. So, and I don't think Jean was actually making them, so is there someone else that has a reliver machine, or is Capucine making them? Because we know Capucine probably is making Bordeaux clones. I would guess the person burned by acid that was quote-unquote Bordeaux was actually Lucas, like a Lucas clone. Like, they never really said that, but that kind of makes sense, And then Lucas being like, oh man, I don't know who this is, but they always end up like, you don't know who it is, because if you saw that, you'd be kind of fucked up, like, thinking it's you, and he also wouldn't know, like, because Capucine was taking his blood or whatever. So, but I'm curious because okay. Capucine's doing experiments, but why would he actually be churning out relivers? You know what I mean? Because that doesn't make sense. I mean, it's a possibility, but to me, I'm like trying to think like somebody's making these with the faulty equipment and whatever. That's kind of like the thought process they got in science route, but they never kind of explained it. I guess because like maybe they didn't want to yet, But Capucine's the only logical person that we know of at the moment making these relivers. But why? Because we know he's experimenting on relivers and recloning them and whatever, but why would he be making a bunch of them and letting them go to live out their own days? Like, like the guy went to Simon, the royal guy, and was like, oh, hey, here you go. You could go here and get this done. And I thought, did they make it kind of clear when the guy with the shadow figure was talking to Simon that it was at the church? So it was like, it definitely was Capucine, or was it just like, oh, maybe it is? I can't remember that now. But, I mean, you're getting money. So like, oh yeah, we're doing back alley, like, and you're cloning them, you're getting DNA from them, and then you're making clones to like whatever, and then you're just like, oh hey, by the way, Lucas, here's a page of people to kill. You know what I mean? Like, or that the equipment's faulty, and that they're gonna end up dead, and you're like, whatever. You don't care because you got your money, they die, somebody else is getting blamed, So like, and it's Capucine, so yeah, I could see him doing that, I guess. Like, oh, we needed money to keep not the church, but the whatever going, the hospital. The hospital going, and to keep, getting relivers to do research on, so I started back alley reliver processing. Yeah, actually they come, we do it, they die. Who's gonna blame me? Nobody blames me, because they don't know that they're getting it done in a back alley. You know what I mean? Everyone's like, oh, yeah, my husband went and became a reliver, or they're not gonna tell you. They're gonna be like, yeah, no, I totally got a backup. Yeah, it was real expensive. They're not gonna tell you about the back alley reliver process because, you know what I mean? So, it's hush hush. Shh. You're not gonna tell the cops about your drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? And that's Capucine's basically a drug dealer over here. Like, you're not gonna be like, yeah, I get my coke from the guy down the street. You're not gonna, you know what I mean? So, gotta protect your sources. So I guess if he was doing it for money, and he's a reliver himself, so... Yeah. Anyway. The smell of blood began to fill the air. The Corps and the Royal Guard were busy gathering the bodies before the rowdy. Okay. The screams of the people pierced through the air as more bodies with their chests gouged out were discovered every night. But it's like, why is he churning out so many? Unless it's the way to lure me out or get people so then he can take me, and you know what I mean? He could just bust in here and kidnap me. In fact, I could even hear the screams from Karoon, where I had been since the start. I'm curious. I hadn't stepped outside, not even once, ever since that day. If I did go out, the people would surround and interrogate me as though I was the culprit behind the deaths. As for Eve, who was protecting me, he stepped out to secure another body that was found earlier this morning. Sidon hadn't shared any autopsy reports with us. Even Dr. Capucine hadn't contacted us after he took some blood samples from me. Not yet, he hasn't. Yeah, you don't want him to contact you, girl. Just don't. We were still lucky that the residents hadn't forced their way inside Karoon, but pretty frustrating not being able to know what's happening outside apart from what I'm told. The mysterious deaths by supposed suicide were spreading like the flu ever since I came to Karoon. It was different from the curse I usually spread, but it was likely still my doing. I caused trouble to Hugo, too. Even Hugo parted ways during an argument about me. Eve told me that Hugo would return soon enough, but they were supposed to be partners, and they got into that fight, which wouldn't have happened if I weren't here at Karoon. You broke up your parents. Good job, girl. God. Oh, what a beautiful uncle. I wanted to be like any other girl. If I hadn't desired something so sinful, and if I had gone through with killing myself, then none of this would have happened. You see like that because he grabbed the knife and then he was bleeding and then like, I suppressed your power because got my DNA inside you. Sir, there are other ways we could have done that. That's not what you meant. Okay, never mind. You didn't, come on. I was always going to go the gutter route. As I ruminated over depressing thoughts, I'm ruminating over kinky thoughts because apparently I'm a whore. I don't know. Only mentally. Physically, don't touch me. But, like, mentally, these games and just whatever. Oh, he's covered in blood. Look how precious he looks. I'm home, Spacey. I'm sorry for leaving you alone here so often. Here, something for you. Adolphe picked some fresh veggies for us. Come back, Eve. Let me get some water right away. I smiled weakly at Eve, who was covered in blood. The blood on his clothes and skin weren't his, but rather from the bodies he'd been inspecting. Eve had been tirelessly working to find proof of my innocence. He put a hold on his business here and was working with the Corps. I assumed the blood on him was from helping the guards from the Institute move the bodies. I have hot water ready for you to wash up with, and I can use the vegetables to get something ready for dinner. After a week of seeing him return covered in blood, I grew accustomed to it. This is what your married life's going to be like. With his other wife being pissed off in the corner. Hugo, obviously. You knew. I just wanted to say it. I quickly got to washing his clothes so that he could have some well-earned rest, and because he didn't have too many uniforms. I had to switch my train of thought and do what I could so that I could repay him for the trouble I was causing. Eve's investigating on his own because of me. Sorry, I had to yawn. A few hours later, I handed Eve a fresh towel after he washed up and changed into a fresh set of clothes. So how are things outside? Eve took the towel from me and dried his hair as he groaned a bit, obviously thinking of how to phrase it. He shrugged, knowing there was no hiding it. Total chaos, to be honest. And the deaths have been spreading like wildfire from Coen and into the other areas. It's harder not to find a body nowadays. In fact, we found more at the place where we took care of those sheep that time. See, more victims found at a location I had been before. It seemed my thoughts were easy to read as Eve smiled and tried to console me. That's just a coincidence. Not like we've found bodies every place you've been, you know. Well, I've been all over this damn town, so And again, though, I've been all over this town, so it's going to be hard to find a body in a place that I haven't been, you know? Doesn't mean anything. He's not wrong. Assuming that was true, then it'd be strange that I'm still alive, don't you think? Don't say such a thing! Well, you were looking at me so anxiously. I couldn't deny that. So how are things outside? I'm pretty sure he just said lots of dead bodies, so... Great. Sounds good. Have the people been saying anything bad about your keeping me here? Everyone's the same as usual. They're still treating me nicely, so don't worry. Doubt that. The problem now is I'm not able to examine any corpses or make any headway in the investigation. The guards are a lot sharper than I thought. They'd have to be if Cyan was the one who hired him. Eve then shrugged and told me that the Royal Guard was on edge now, too. I'm sorry. Oh my god. According to Eve, even though Dahut was assisting us from the shadows, the guards arrived really quickly before Eve could secure the bodies. Once the guards got there, they cordoned off the crime scene to prevent anyone from going near the bodies. You know, talking about the deaths at home is really dampening the mood in the worst way. How about we prepare dinner instead? Oh, I think Puffy's just about ready to eat, too. Eve moved toward the fishbowl, only to be greeted by Puffy playing dead. It was a lot rounder than before, since I'd been feeding it every day. Eve, that little one's kept me company as a conversation partner while you've been out. So could you leave him out of your food plans for now, at least? Huh? I see. Well, I can see where you're coming from, since it does have a cute face. A single tap. Eve gave up easily enough and tapped the fishbowl, at which point Puffy's eyes met mine. The fact that you can't cook that fish, it's obviously way more intelligent than a normal fish. Eve walks over and it's like, I'm dead. You fish, that's not going to stop him. And then, Eve walks away and the fish is like, girl! You taught that fish a trick! You didn't even have to teach it, it just knew. Like, that fish has got a human brain in it. Well, I guess you're its guardian for the time being. Puffy, you better keep her company and protect her while I'm out. Puffy stopped the moment his master entrusted him with this mission. A few seconds later, as if Puffy knew what was being said, it puffed up with air as if to say that we could count on it. This is a pufferfish. You can't kill that fish, it's too smart. 2 hours later, Eve, have you had any trouble lately with taking care of the licorice noises? I thought maybe your work in the Corps might be taking up all your time. They can be left alone for a few weeks. The licorice flowers are pretty hardy and don't wilt so easily. Even though I'm their guardian, all I really do is check to make sure they're not sick. Oh, but I haven't seen any wilted ones. But from time to time, it seems like there are fewer of them around. Like someone's picked the licorice noises for some reason. My guess would be Unko, because I feel like he's the only person that could pick them and not die. Can't be. No matter how pretty they are, we die from the curse the moment we picked one. You're right, but it still happens. Our conversation continued as we enjoyed our meal when we heard a knock at the door. The calm of the room suddenly turned tense as we looked at each other. That's me when people ring my doorbell. The calm of the room turns tense. Oh, God. Don't make any noise. Go hide in a corner, pretend you don't exist. I wonder who it is. The closed sign was out, so it probably wasn't someone looking to hire us. Maybe it's Adolphe. He did say he was going to come by later. Eve stuffed his mouth with a slice of meat and walked toward the door with the fork still hanging from his mouth. Adorable. He slowly opened it to discover a group of unexpected guests. People here to lynch mob me? I was going to go with Capucine, but... Oh! Didn't expect Lucas. Eve, do you know that greeting someone with food in your mouth is... You do know that greeting someone with food in your mouth is rude, don't you? Alright, what brings you here? Eve took the fork out of his mouth and hid it behind his back after being reprimanded by our former teacher. Oh, everyone's here! Okay, well, not everyone, but almost. Good evening, Spacey. You looked a little pale last time, but I hope you're okay now. It's not much, but we brought over a few things to eat. I doubt what you have here is enough. Oh, we brought fruits and some wine, too. I know things haven't been resolved yet, but please enjoy it after things settle down. Adolphe and the others came in, holding crates in their arms and walking past Eve, who looked on in surprise. Huh? I couldn't understand what was going on either. So adorable. I love our friends. This is what I'm talking about. Like, that's so wholesome and wonderful, and you have such a good little gaggle of friends and a little family. Aww. It warms your heart, and then everybody brutally dies. And it's like, the fuck? You know what I mean? You're like, what the shit, game? Rude. I see. So everyone went to buy groceries for Eve since he was too busy to go out himself. I can't stop yawning in this part. Eve got dressed in more appropriate attire and rejoined us. Thank you very much. You wouldn't have had to do this if I was able to go out to buy groceries myself. Well, we're working together, you know. I tried to express my deepest thanks to everyone for bringing us food. Is everyone alright? I know I'm a source of problems as deaf. One's unworthy of being a teacher if they don't have faith in their students. I agree. Even if you are deaf, you're the very first friend I've ever made. This is so wholesome and heartwarming. Why is everyone gotta die constantly? And I abide by my master's beliefs. Like, even Jean's being charming and adorable right now, and we know what a shady son of a bitch he is underneath. Right now, though, he's our precious butler and we love him. I don't need a reason to be here. Thank you all so much. Everyone smiled at me the same way as before. We're all here except for Cyan and Hugo.
So why don't we talk about what happened when you discovered the bodies?
Okay, it seemed like none of us were going to give up on the mysterious deaths. Everyone sat down in the seats reserved for customers.
Let's get started. She was the first of us to see the bodies this time around, just like in the first case.
Well, that one was confusing since Borrow's victims were also mixed in with the others. He later went about destroying the bodies before they could be collected for autopsies.
We came to believe that the deaths were because of Borrow, but Borrow died in front of our eyes. There are no records at the Institute showing that he revived as a reliver either. There is a possibility that he spread some kind of drug or disease as a trap that would be triggered based on time. No, that was debunked by her parents' case. If some sort of precursor to the incident began at the time of her birth, the timing doesn't seem to match. It is true that he targeted the bodies, but Borrow himself wasn't involved in the suicides. He's like, I know that for a fact, Jesus fucking Christ. Or at least that's how I see things. I love how he did that. He's like, Borrow wasn't involved. And he's like, I mean, at least that's just my interpretation of it. I love it.
And then the question would be why he targeted the corpses, but it's useless pursuing that aspect now that he's dead.
Adolphe glanced over at Jean for his input. Jean gracefully nodded in response and put his hand to his vest. He took out a bunch of small papers and spread them out on the table. They were pictures that showed eerie buildings painted in a reddish-black color.
What you see here are photographs. These were real images captured by a camera.
A camera?
You mean that rare device? I've never seen one before. It is very expensive and difficult to come by, but we managed to obtain one through connections. In order to prevent theft, we'd appreciate it if you kept this a secret.
We all nodded in agreement.
Yeah, we don't want the Institute to know that we were stealing their shit and I'm a shady bastard.
I'm actually more interested in these photographs than the camera itself. Jean, let me guess. These are pictures of the different sites where the deaths occurred, right?
Huh?
Oh, so you noticed. Now that he mentioned it, I could vaguely see the silhouettes of bodies in the reddish black of the picture. When did you take these? Also, like, good job, crime photographer, but it's a little fucking weird. I mean, it's not like he was just doing it for funsies. It was like when they started taking the bodies, I was snapping pictures, so we have photos of the crime scenes. John raised his head with pride. Yeah, he would. He told us the idea came that night, thinking about the possibility that the residents would harm Mathis somehow. Sure. Please, in the back seat. Okay, that night. I thought I was talking about like in the very beginning, one of the earlier ones. I was like, that's shady. This particular time in this route. Okay, sure.
Let us and Dahlin take care of this. You take care of her, got it?
He quickly took some shots with the camera just before everyone jumped into the car as evidence of what happened. Fortunately, they didn't need to use that proof to defend themselves, but after developing the photos, he discovered that he had inadvertently caught the bodies in the background.
So I asked Adolphe for his cooperation so I could hide among the core units and take photos of each reported incident. And no matter how sharp the guards are, they probably never considered that a butler would be carrying a rare camera. I figured.
Are you sure that was okay?
Perhaps not. But with so few leads, we have no choice but to see it as a valuable source of information. John told me that even if anybody found out about the photos, we can pay them off to leave us alone.
Or we just kill them. Pay them off?
There's no telling when, where, or how death will meet us. Which is why most people reserve as much money as possible to get their genes and memories backed up.
Indeed, as such, there's no end to the amount of cooperation that one can buy. In other words, Jean's using the Claude family fortune.
He looks so happy about it! Even if one did have the money to revive, they'd also have to wait a long time on the wait list. Not everyone had the luxury to take chances. We then gathered around to look at the invaluable photographs. The first thing that caught our attention was a picture of the victims on the night I was with Eve.
Is there anything that's caught your attention?
Caught my attention. I glanced at the other pictures. Adolphe told me that any minor detail, whether about the wounds or the victim's traits, might lead to something. Number of bodies, victims' traits, victims' expressions. Look closer at the photos. Well, like, okay, 4 bodies. Why would that? Okay, victims' traits. Looks like there were 2 men and 2 women. Well, the victims' traits being 2 men and 2 women, that's interesting because our mom and dad died, so like pairs. That could be a thing, you know what I mean? I don't know. So, well. What do we have here? Our first bad ending. Not that we're doing it right now, obviously, but Bird, shut up! You had a chance to come up here, you're being a douche! He's shrieking. Goddamn obnoxious, ugly-ass fucking noise that makes me want to choke him. I love him, but he's being a douche. Number of bodies, okay. Excuse me, Jean. The photos show the image of all the victims that were each seen?
Yes, unless there were any we overlooked. Is there something on your mind?
Yes. Well, it might just be a coincidence, but there are an even number of bodies in each of the photographs. Or rather, it looks like there are always 2 bodies near each other. Yeah, so the traits. So I wasn't totally wrong, like they're pairs. They're couples. As if it was decided in advance that they would die together.
Ah, I see what you mean. I hadn't noticed it since I was focused on taking the photographs. Well, I noticed something else now that you brought up the idea of the bodies being in pairs. Take a look. Aren't there an equal number of male and female victims?
Well, okay, so see, that was the thought I came to. There was 4, and like that photo, it looked the man and the woman in the background, the couple sitting next to each other, just like our parents. Okay, that was the traits I was thinking of. So, okay, my thought process was there. I just didn't know number of bodies was going to get us there.
Happening once is one thing, but at every sight...
Look at this one. If you look closely at their arms and legs, you can see liver marks. They're in the other photos as well. We can't say for certain, but those details across all the photos can hardly be called a coincidence.
So the traits might have been 3 livers. If so, all the deaths must have something in common, such as
1, the victims were relivers, and
2, the victims were a male and female pair.
This is becoming increasingly more complicated. I doubt curses, diseases, or drugs are able to target victims based on the specific criteria we've found. Not to mention, if a male and female reliver couple was what triggered the deaths, the country would have lost a majority of its population by now. Well, that's a good argument. If so, then it's more realistic to assume there's another common factor.
We did find unusual links among the deaths, but like Mathis and Eve said, they weren't strong enough to say we had found a lead. Should we let Cyan know? I'll go tell him! In person!
I'm sure he knows already. After all, he has all the bodies that were recovered. We're not trying to compete with him, but I am worried how long this may take with how difficult it is to conduct our investigation. About the Royal Guard, too. If we can at least get some information before they intervene. We could use whatever we find to request Cyan's help again like before.
So, negotiation fodder.
We'd need to use some method that Cyan can't employ. We should think of what that could be.
And while we all think of what that could be, the grandfather clock is going to toll and signal the end of this part. So I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.